Yo, welcome to Legato for Noobs, episode 3. Now this is the first time where we're going to actually learn something that sounds vaguely musical. Everything that we've done so far has been kind of purely technical, working on the basics of the hammer-on and pull-off technique. But in this video we're going to take what we've learned so far and just learn 3 examples that sound like something that you might hear in a guitar solo. The idea here, though, is that you take the basics of the ideas and you run with them and you make them into your own thing. Right, let's get going. Okay, so lick number 12 goes like this. You're going to play fret number 3 on the B with your first finger of your fretting hand and do a downstroke of your pick. And then hammer on to fret 5 with finger 3. Then you're going to do the same thing on the high E string, but you're going to use an upstroke rather than a downstroke. So you've got a down, hammer, up, hammer. Now to be fair, you could also do 2 downs, which would be kind of like the economy picking way of doing it. Down, hammer, down, hammer, down, hammer, down, hammer. But I think I prefer to do the alternate picking version for this because it just feels nicer on my picking hand. But I'll leave that up to you to decide exactly how you want to do it. So we're going to repeat that 4 times. Just another little thing about your first finger, it would kind of make sense to try and sort of flatten it between those 2 strings so that you don't have to jump and skip from one string to the next. Now, I'm not keeping it completely barred like that, I'm kind of moving it a little bit, but that just kind of eases the transition between the 2 strings and just makes the whole thing just a little nicer to play. Now, in the second bar, you're going to do exactly the same thing, but on frets 5 and 8. Now I'm doing something slightly funky with my fingers here. On the B string I'm using fingers 1 and 3, and then on the high E string I'm using fingers 1 and 4. That just means that my third finger doesn't get as tired, because otherwise you're going to be using your third finger to play this entire lick, and by the end of it it's going to start getting slightly fatigued. So just by doing it this way in this bar, it gives my fingers a bit of a break. But once you've got it, you do it 4 times like you did in the previous one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you've got the first bar again, but on frets 8 and 10. And then you're going to go back down to frets 5 and 8 and do exactly what you did before. And then finish with a slide up to fret 10 on the B. Now I'm going to play it all the way through with some scrolling tab. I'll do it at 3 different speeds like I've done in the previous videos. So once at 50%, once at 75%, once at 100%. Obviously the 100% one is quite optimistic, it's quite fast, and you will need to do a fair bit of practice, probably if you're a beginner at this technique anyway, in order to bring it up to that final tempo. Right, let's get practicing. And on to exercise number 13. Start with fret 3 on the high E with your third finger. Do a downstroke of your pick and then pull off to open. Then do an upstroke on fret 3 B, again with your third finger, and pull off to open again. Now that's the first part of the lick. So you're going to go a down, pull, up, pull. Down, pull, up, pull. Now the pick strokes there are mega logical. They are following the direction of string travel, and you're going to repeat that 5 times. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now after the fifth one, you're going to continue your descent to the G string, and we're going to pull off between frets 2 and open with your second finger. Now that one's going to be another upstroke. So if I just kind of start at the beginning of that bar, down, pull, up, pull, up, pull. Then you're going to do the same thing essentially, but one string lower. So we're going to do 3B, pull off to open with a downstroke. Then 2G with an upstroke, pull off to open. 2D with an upstroke, pull off to open. So far. Then it's 2G, pull off to open with a downstroke. 2D with an up, pull off to open. 2A with an up, pull off to open. And if I put that together. Down, up, down, up. Then we're going to do 2D with a down, pull off to open. 2A with an up, pull off to open. 3 low E with your third finger and an up, pull off to open. So if I put it all together, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And then an E major chord, which we're going to play once and it'll last for 2 beats. 3, 4, 1. And then once again, and then last just for 1 beat. Right, let me put that all together. And now let's practice along with some scrolling tab. Final lick for today, exercise number 14, is another ascending pattern using the notes of the A minor pentatonic scale. So we're going to do fret 5 on the low E with finger 1 and then hammer on to 8 with your little finger. Now, I'm actually going to start this with an upstroke for reasons which I'll explain in a minute or two. So we're going to start with an up, then hammer on to 8. Then we're going to do 5 on the A with a down and hammer on to 7 with finger 3. Then do the same thing on the D. So we've got up, hammer, down, hammer, down, hammer. Now the reason why I did it that way is that if we started on a downstroke, then we'd have a down, hammer, down, hammer, down, hammer. But then in the next bit, we'd have an up hammer, down hammer, down hammer. Because again, our pick strokes are going to be following the direction of string travel. And as the next note is on fret 5A and we're going that way, I want to use an upstroke. So essentially, what it means, if we start with an upstroke, is that we've got one picking pattern. Up, hammer, down, hammer, down, hammer, up, hammer, down, etc., etc. Rather than down, hammer, down, hammer, down, hammer, up, hammer, down, hammer, down, hammer. It just makes it easier to remember. In fact, I think I did this wrong at the beginning of the video when I did the little performance, because I think I started on a down, but there we go, let's just rock and roll for you. So the next bit, we're going to play fret 5 on the A string with an upstroke and then hammer on to 7 with finger 3. And then on the D, same thing, but start with a downstroke. And then the same thing on the G with a downstroke. So far. And then we're just going to continue up. So 5 on the D, hammer on to 7D with fingers 1 and 3 and an upstroke. And then down on fret 5 G, hammer on to 7. 5 on the B with a down, hammer on to 8 with finger 4. So far. Then we're going to go back to the G string with an up and hammer on from 5 to 7. Then 5-8 on the B with a down. 5-8 on the high E with a down. And then we're just going to repeat the last 2 strings. So an up on fret 5 B and then hammer on to 8. And then a down on fret 5 high E, hammer on to 8. And then a slide up to fret 10 on the B to finish it off. So let me just put that together. I'll just say the pick strokes again. So up, hammer, down, hammer, 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 10. Right, let's do some practice. And that's it. So that was a much shorter video than the previous ones. And I hope you have fun learning those licks and adapting them to your own wicked ends. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.